Good morning, friends. It's Nancy, and it's very early Sunday morning. Got no cream in the house, so I had to go to McDonald's get my coffee. It's that early. There isn't a grocery store open. That's okay. That's okay. Nothing good, nothing bad about a McDonald's coffee. I just finished doing my bullet journal for this week. Nothing too startling on the horizon for me, except Tuesday I have to go to get my knee ultrasound and x-ray. Okay. So Friday I was working on this, and really all I have left to do now is to do the inside pages. So let me show you what happened. And maybe this will show up. Anyway, so the first set of inside pages that I did, I thought, what is this mess in here? And then I realized, oh, the paper bag is showing through. So the next set, I glued my fabric to just this, cream colored cardstock. Same deal. So I'm kind of perplexed. Like, it seems to be, I don't know. I don't even know. I can't use them. I just pulled those out of the garbage, actually. So I've got paper bag cut. And what I thought I would do is just do some more patchwork on the two pieces of paper bag. It's that early in the morning. I'm just grabbing some scrap paper that I can glue on. I think I'll turn on a light. That might be helpful as well. So let me bring you up to speed on everything that's happened this week. I don't think I have any pieces that are big enough I could do the whole piece, but I do have enough of this. Maybe I don't have to patchwork. Let's see what you look like. Well, it's going to be just beautiful. Just beautiful. I had glued this down here. I think it's the same fabric, to make a little tuck spot for this tag. So I all of a sudden things have changed. I will have to cut two pieces. So Friday, Doug gets a call from the local police. They have found his motorcycle. Well, that came as a huge shock. In fact, he said to me last night, I had accepted that it was gone, and now I feel re-traumatized. Poor Doug. So they had to take it somewhere to do forensics. So they were, I guess, they were going to look for fingerprints or whatever. And they would let him know when it was ready to be picked up. I will stop there and iron. And then yesterday afternoon, around 4, the police call again. It's ready to go. All right. So it was at an impound yard. So we go to the impound yard, and the gate is open, like the fence is unlocked. The office has a open sign. Nobody's there. So we called their after hours number or whatever and said the police told us we could pick up the car. Well, did they give you a release form? No. That's crooked. No. Check your email. They might have emailed it to you. No. Well, we can't give it to you without a release form. So we call the police non-emergency line. Rings and rings and rings and rings. Nobody answers the phone. So I said, let's go to Central Division, because our neighborhood, our address is under the jurisdiction of Central Division. So we go there. It's locked up. Press the button. What do you want? Told them what we were there after. Oh, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Come on in. And Doug's already mad because we had to go out nearly out of town to the yard in the first place. and I mean, let's face it, it's been kind of an emotional roller coaster for poor old Doug. Anyway, so we go in, and there's 2 officers there, a man and a woman. And the young man, it was an older woman who was speaking with us, and there was a young man behind a computer. He looked like he was shopping on Amazon. I don't know what he was doing. But clearly it was far too busy for them to answer the phone. No judgment. Okay, lots of judgment. So they start looking for this release form. They have nothing. And they said, where was it recovered? So I gave them the address. Well, it was recovered in Waterloo. Yes. Well, then you need to go to North Division. I said, can you call North Division and make sure that it's there? Because I'm not going all the way out to North Waterloo. So she calls. They don't answer. And she says, So she hangs up. She says, well, they're not answering. And I said, well, I'm not surprised. I called here. Nobody answered. And she says, oh, well, they're really busy. Yeah, they're super busy. Anyway. And I said, is there any way you can email somebody? And Doug is steaming at this point. And I thought, I got to get him out of here. He's going to snap and end up in jail. So I said, Doug, go outside. So he went outside. And all of a sudden, the woman was more readily open to working with me instead of against me. So between her and the young man, they looked up the case. They got an occurrence number, and they called the after hours number for the impound yard and said that they were giving a verbal that it could be picked up. No problem, we'll have somebody out there in 15 minutes. So I go back out and said to Doug, get in the car, rolling back to the impound yard. Well, what did you say? And I said, I didn't say anything. It's just a relational sort of thing. I mean, they can see you're kind of steamed, and that makes them not really super willing to be helpful, because that's just life, buddy. I guess that catch more flies with sugar sort of thing applies. I think I'll do the other one first. If you're new to my channel, I'm not giving any instructions because I have shown this process a million times on different junk journals. I love to put fabric inside my journals as the inside pages. I rarely do paper, but it happens from time to time. But I love to do fabric. I love fabric, so it's an opportunity to use textiles. Anyway, so I'm just using glue stick and gluing down the edge. Anyway, so we go back out to the impound yard, and we wait, and we wait. Now Doug's really peeved because they said 15 minutes and it's been, I don't know how long at this point. Longer. So the guy finally comes, and he gets out of his truck and he says to Doug, how are you paying for this? Doug says, how am I paying for what? He says, well, you have, the tow charge and the impound charge and the yada yada yada. He said, oh, hang on, he wants to talk to me. Where was I? Oh, yes. So, anyway, Doug was rather irate that he was being expected to pay these charges. because he didn't steal the, he didn't steal it. He didn't cause a crime, and he's the victim here. And yeah, so I got out of the car, pulled out my Visa card, and I said, "Let's go." I sent Doug back out. So I go into the office with this guy, and he can't find the forms. So he calls his boss, I guess. I forgot to mention, Doug said, "Is it rideable?" And the police said, "Can't see why not." So he has his helmet with him. We stopped and got a jerry can of gas, because we presumed that whoever took it had a joyride and used up all the gas. Anyway, so he calls the boss, and half an hour later, $400 later, heading out to the yard. Him and Doug go into the yard to get the bike, and they come back out, and Doug said, "There's no way anybody's driving that." I guess it was trashed. And the gentleman from the, and I've got a Buick. I can't put a motorcycle in my Buick. So he says, "You're gonna have to get a trailer or somebody with a pickup truck, or I don't know, whatever." And okay, I said, how are we going to figure this out? And Doug said, "Well, we'll have to come back tomorrow. I'll call my brother." And I said, "And then they're going to charge me another $60 for another day impound." And the guy said, no, I'm going to call my boss and explain to him that this isn't your fault, that the police said it was drivable. Yada, yada, yada. So we come home. And by this point, it's now been 2.5 hours. And still no bike. And now we know the bike's not rideable. And the guy from the tow yard said, "Oh, you're looking at least $800 in repairs." And that's just based on what I can see. They clearly hot wired it, but did they fry the whole shebang? He did say a word, but I don't know. What do I know? Something motorcycle-y. And will all that need to, So, and I should mention, we do not have comprehensive insurance on this motorcycle. We have liability. So none of these charges or repairs are going to be covered. Yeah, it gets better and better. So Doug came home, called his brother. His brother said, "I'll come tomorrow, we'll pick it up." And then he must have called somebody. I'm going to sew this. Maybe I'm going to add some lace pockets. What have we got in lace pocket land? I got these two nice little ones. They're just little. I want something bigger. That's a nice stained up one there. feels disproportionate though. Let's get out. Let's get out the doilies, girls. Anyway. So the tow company had once upon a time belonged to a friend of his. And so he called his friend and he was telling him all about what happened. And the friend said, commiserated with him. And then later on that night, the friend called back and he says, okay, so I talked to the guys at the tow yard. They're going to meet us there tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And I'll bring it back here and get my son to take a look at it. Okay, so I have several of this kind. So I'm trying to find one that's stained but not too stained. I think that's gonna work. Anyway, so Doug called his brother back and said, you don't need to come now. We've made alternate arrangements. So, where is my Fabri-Tac? So hopefully things go better today. I said to the guy at the tow yard, he was commiserating with us as well. And I said, I find it so hard to believe that we don't have comprehensive insurance. I said, I've been a customer for 35 years. And I have always talked me into getting full coverage and then some. And then they call me every few months and say, is there any changes, any new purchases? Because of course everything, most recently I added additional flooding and sewer backup because all of Doug's guitars are in the basement. So, they're always happy to take my money. So I'm having a hard time believing we didn't have comprehensive. And the only thing I can think of is they called Doug and said, do you want to add this? Or when he set up the insurance, maybe, I don't know. And he said, no, we don't need this. I'm not going to suggest that to him, though. I'm not going to make it his fault. That would be cruel. Oh, poor Doug. I'm going to turn this around so I have the big roses there. Anyway, so the guy at the tow yard guy says, you've been a customer that long. Why don't you give him a call and say, you know what? I've been a customer a long time. You better consider offering me some assistance with this. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. There's no harm. As I say to all my clients, every unasked question, the answer is no. So ask. Okay, now I'm going to sew. All right. So the first thing I got to do is glue this strap in. See if I can find a pencil so I can put a little mark. Okay. Good enough. That's a little high. Okay. So it's Sunday, it's self-care Sunday. And I decided back in the new year that my intentions for Sunday is to do a little relaxing crafting, nothing too huge, sort of set a reset button and think about, if you're doing a sort of a relaxing craft, your mind can wander a little and think about stuff. And so yes, I made a note to discuss this. I read something yesterday about kindness that got me thinking, particularly through the pandemic that we suffered through. I feel like I'd like to... There's no way I can stitch through that board. I'm just going to have to accept that. I think it's going to be okay, though. I mean, that's, good 2.5 inches. I was hesitating there thinking, what if I tried to hand stitch? I might try to hand stitch this down, maybe? I don't know. Oh. I'm sorry, I was just thinking of an idea. Oh, Nancy, you're funny. Anyway, so we heard and saw a lot of reminders to be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind. And, on a whole, across the average board here, I think all of us are kind. But for those who aren't, or not always kind, I wonder how we can teach kindness. So I have 2 thoughts. we can always teach by example. And I think that's, you know, what the messaging through the pandemic was all about. Be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind. Every sign, every t-shirt, every bumper sticker, yeah, it's become almost pandemic itself. And then I was thinking, I can't think of an example where I personally have been treated in a way that hasn't been kind in recent history. I mean, even though yesterday was a nightmare in terms of trying to get that bike down, that bike home, everybody was nice about it. It was just very frustrating. And that's not anybody's fault. It's a systemic thing. It's outside of my control. And to some degree outside of their control. So, but what I was thinking was, in order to build resilience to a situation or a world where we're not treated with kindness, we need to be kind to ourselves. So, if we're helping friends or working with kids and they make a mistake or something doesn't go their way, we'll say it doesn't matter. You tried. Things will improve. Don't beat yourself up. You're only human. We tend to be kind to people outside of ourselves and maybe not so kind to ourselves. So for this self-care Sunday, think about, not only about what you need to do in order to create an environment where you feel cared for. So for me, it's, my physical space. I need to have my physical space in such a way that I feel relaxed. So that's why in my bullet journal, I have a check off to spend 15 minutes just cleaning my craft space, because that's the biggest problem in my life right now. It is still moving from one room to another and deciding what can go and what can stay, because things got to go. I'm in a smaller space. Just got to go. So that's one way of being kind to myself, or keeping on track of what I need to accomplish so that I don't have the stress of a deadline. That's another way of being kind to myself. But I think we also need a few treats. So whether that's the, DIY spa, I think that's going to be great. Yeah, I'll just let that set up. Looking good. I have a few more pieces of ephemera here that I can add. I know that there's a few pieces that need to be completed. I'm just seeing. I think I'm going to add that there. Maybe I'll make it a tuck spot. A little tag. So I don't have a whole lot of suggestions for you. But maybe you'll think about that too. So as a remedy to time or events, or maybe you feel you have not been treated with kindness, just take a moment for yourself and be kind to yourself. Whether that's processing the event or I need a paper clip. I don't have any paper clips. Yeah. It's got a little tear in it. Let's get some glue. Let's get some tape. So the week ahead, what do we got going on? Not much. Not much. I know they are doing something to the roof on our office tomorrow, and so they have to put up a crane. So we are working from home in the morning. Apparently the crane should be gone by whatever time. By noon. So I need to make something for there. Something for there. I'm going to put her on this side. But I wonder if I should just put a little bit of lace there to separate the two fabrics. Let me see what I what I got handy. Come on. Must be time to refill the glue bottle again. Or add a little acetone. Get it running a little quicker. So my plans for today, I am going to the antique market in Aberfoyle and the nostalgia show in Woodstock. I like these little collages. I need to make more of them. Thought, what the heck was that? It's just the sliver of the tape I just trimmed. There's a little bee on the clover. Okay, so I think I need to make 6 or 7 tags or journaling spots or something. So that will also be on my to-do list. All right. I'm going to get myself going here. I hope you have a great Sunday and you get an opportunity to practice some self-care because it takes practice. We're not good at it. We're very good at looking after other people, but not ourselves. But just remember, it's key to your ongoing mental health. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.